what you can shed and let go of today is what I'm discussing in this video. I'm Helen from Creating Shifts with Helen, which is all about helping you to get to the bottom of what's been holding you back and keeping you stuck so that we can shift it. You can make the changes you've been craving and move from surviving to thriving. And I'm dancing along throughout this, as inspired dance is an amazing form of somatic processing, and it forms part of my sessions and my program. So I like to give people a little taste of what inspired dance is. As you can see, it's not choreographed. It's moving however the body feels inspired to move. So, I've talked about growth and healing in a previous video. I think it's entitled Letting Go, the power of letting go for healing and growth. And basically I talk about how we can often fall into the trap of accumulating for our healing and growth. When we enter that personal development world, it's all, what's next, what else can I do, what else can I try, what other modalities are there for me to benefit from? And that can become so exhausting. We try all the things. I've been there. I started off with Reiki. I think that's often the gateway into the healing modality. So I started off with Reiki. I've tried essential oils, sound healing. People do the same sort of things. We all get into the same kind of things and try all the different modalities, the hypnotherapy, the SRT, all those things. And what we find, no matter how much shadow work we're doing, no matter how much we're embodying all the things that we're learning, doesn't make the significant changes that we're craving. So we can get exhausted and ready to throw in that towel and think, well, this must just be it. This must be the way it is, and we've got just no more energy. The other side of healing that is sometimes missing is shedding and letting things go. And all that accumulating, well, that leaves us feeling exhausted and like nothing's working, and no matter what we try, we don't get the changes that we desire. Shedding things creates so much space, so much relief, and it really helps us to make those changes that we desire. So, what is it that we need to shed? So that can be anything from limiting beliefs and old stories and narratives that we've plugged into. It can be old identities that no longer serve us. Stuck emotions that have got trapped in our body. That's where somatic processing is amazing. We can hold on to resentment and need to shed that. We can benefit from shedding blame, letting go of blame, perfectionism. And another big one is expectations. The expectations we place on ourselves can be a great thing to reflect on and consider and shed and let go. So where I've placed unrealistic expectations on myself is with my dogs. I'm a dog lover. My dogs form a large part of my life. And I got to a place where I was myself in meeting their needs. My expectations were of myself that I should be providing everything they needed, everything they wanted, physically, mentally, emotionally, and everything in between. And that was a lot of pressure, and it came from losing a 3-year-old dog to cancer, which was heartbreaking. And I guess I got then into my mind that I would do anything I could to have my dogs as long as possible, which is a great intention, but it just built to a large amount of pressure. I was obsessed about what I was feeding them, how much exercise was best for them physically and mentally, emotionally, meeting their needs emotionally, their scent needs. I got really stuck in making sure that I was meeting all their needs and doing everything that I could for their health and well-being. And yes, those intentions are great, but what I came to realise was that actually that was not helpful for me. It was too much pressure, and that level of pressure, that level of expectation comes with a level of anxiety. So feeling all that, feeling that pressure and having that level of anxiety, how do you think that impacted my dogs? Well, of course they co-regulate with us. Their nervous systems mirror ours. I talked about that in another video, co-regulation, but it's basically where we mirror the nervous systems of those that we spend time with. And our animals do the same. They're social animals too. They're built for connections with others, and they mirror us. So that huge amount of pressure I was placing on myself to meet all their needs was causing me anxiety, which in turn they were mirroring my nervous system, and it wasn't good for them. And when I let all that go, that pressure was just so much relief. That pressure coming off was just such a huge sigh of relief. And how do you think that impacted my dogs? Well, of course, that impacted them in a good way, me being more chilled out about meeting their needs. Still absolutely, doing what I could, but not having that added pressure of doing the best all the time. So yeah, letting go of that pressure actually benefited me and benefited their well-being, because, as I said, that sigh of relief from me, that change in my state directly impacted their state too. So that's what I've focused on shedding this past year. And I'd love you to consider what it is what expectations you feel that you're placing on yourself unnecessarily. What high standards are you trying to live up to that are just unrealistic? Maybe you do the same with your children. Maybe you're trying to be the perfect parent. And it's interesting to ask yourself how that pressure impacts you, and then of course the others around you, which are your children. And it's useful to think about how releasing that pressure from yourself, releasing those unrealistic expectations, how that impacts you, and how you will feel differently when you're not placing that unrealistic amount of pressure on yourself, and what the ripple effect then is for the rest of your family and your children in particular. So that's another place where we can have unrealistic expectations. You might have really high standards of yourself that you can't continually meet on a permanent basis at work or in your house, keeping your house to a level of perfection. So I'd love for you to think about what it is that you would benefit from easing some of that pressure, letting go, shedding some of those high unrealistic expectations to release that pressure and breathe that sigh of relief. And you can do that through journaling if that's your way of getting things out. But you don't have to journal, you don't have to sit down and journal. We can reflect on these things when we're doing other things that don't require our kind of presence, they don't require our attention, such as jobs around the house, you know, everyday chores, meal prepping, doing the dishes, sorting the laundry, whatever that is for you. But yeah, I'd absolutely encourage you to think about where your expectations are unrealistic, your expectations of yourself are unrealistic, and where you can let go and shed some of that and take the pressure off yourself. I'd love to hear your comments below this, what it is that you've come up with, that you've realised that, yeah, I've got way too high standards there, standards that nobody could really ever meet. So I'd love to hear your comments below this. And check out my website. I do a lot of this shedding work, helping you to shed, helping you to get to the bottom of what it is you need to shed and let go in my programs. So you can head to my website and get on my wait list so that you're the first to know about my new program. I've got a challenge coming up soon, a free 3-day challenge. So being on the wait list will enable you to be first to hear about that too. So www.creatingshiftswithhelen.com is where you can find all that. Thanks for watching.